Welcome back to the ABL review for Season 20 of the South Division, Week 2. So we got a full slate of battles this week. Hold on, let me just adjust some stuff over here. We got a full slate of battles this week. All four of them got done. All pretty good battles. Who was off this week? I want to say Tyler was off this week, so no battles from Tyler, but still got a lot of good ones to talk about. So let's hop into it. Let's do that. Look at that, guys. I'm learning. Okay, so first off, we've got. Hold on, let me get my notes. I've got paper notes, like an old man. With the Detroit Dragapults taking on the Saginaw Spirit, it's Darren versus Josh. Josh's debut ABL match. Let's see how he does. So he's got the sand team. He's got potential screens. He's got a lot of setup opportunities here. On Darren's side of the field, he also has he's got the team he's had. You got good bulk out of Cress and Corv and Comfy for that matter. You've got the double normals with Grafai and Zorark, just messing around with people. And then Cinderace, he pointed out that Cinderace is kind of outside of Defog, his form of hazard control for him. Honestly, he didn't bring any hazards, so if he wants to have hazards up, he has to steal them from Josh and put them up. So Josh probably should be wary of setting up hazards. He does have a clearer, so Josh is in a little bit better position hazard control wise. As I said in one of the episodes, I'm kind of messing with the format a little bit. I'll probably start this battle and just kind of I have a couple of notes. I don't want to take too long in this, so I'm actually going to put the battle on fast. Yeah, so a couple of things I want to mention here is just both sides end up doing this. They kind of start to try to set up a little bit too early. You're going to see Cress go for Calm Mind here, but there's so many things on this other team that are going to have to force you out. Like, you're not beating this Snorlax. Like, you need to kind of leave. I believe that Josh tries to set up a little bit early, but something you need to notice about Josh's team, and this goes for a couple of Pokemon in the league, is you need to have a way. There's some Pokemon you just need to have a way in your team to KO them. Like, you need to have something that guaranteed to hit KOs a Pokemon. And one of those things we've talked about a lot in the past is Clefable. You need to bring like a physical steel or poison type that's going to be able to two-hit KO its way through that. And by the way, I'm pretty sure this Grafai is the Hisuian Zoroark. I think we find that out later. But another one of those Pokemon that you need to prepare for, you need to have something that guaranteed two-hit KOs it, is Corviknight. And the only thing on this team that two-hit KOs Corviknight is Choice Specs Dragapult. So Choice Specs Dragapult has to be protected at all cost. And we end up seeing, by the way, excellent job handling Hisuian Zoroark here. I mean, I don't know how much, and it sucks that he missed that too, because if he hits that, obviously this goes down. And he still has like a half health Hippowdon here. Instead, he's going to get two KO'd by Shadow Ball, lose it. That means he loses his Sand. That means Excadrill loses a lot of its ability. The Terra Dark here, really smart move. Ended up not really coming into effect just due to the fact that he would have lived a Flamethrower anyways. But did guarantee that he would be in range of knockoff. Maybe it would have KO'd otherwise, but I see like Terra Dark was good there because, yeah, I mean that must have been what he was going for, because Shadow Ball wouldn't have worked. And so that was just for the offensive capability, I guess. But yeah, worked out there. Obviously, he wasn't going to go for a Draco Meteor because there's still a Comfey around. So ends up knocking this off. And at this point, honestly, the battle's won because there's nothing that's going to be able to kill Corviknight. Corviknight's at 100% health. Excadrill we haven't seen go for a move. Best thing it could really do is have Rock Slide. Chestnut knocking off is the best thing it can do. I think that, and it's already knocked off the Rocky Helmet. Like, yeah, it's not a good spot for this team versus Corviknight, and that's what we see end up going down. Sorry if the Zelda music in the background is obnoxious. I just chose a long looped track. But really not much else to say about this. Like, the bulletproof play ended up working out good. I think we see later on in the battle. Hold on, where is it? Yeah, see this curse Corviknight or Snorlax doesn't have any way to hit this Corviknight. It's not good. I said it's Corviknight twice. Snorlax. But yeah, Grafaiai does a lot of work in this. Learning about Prankster and Dark types. That's a tough lesson to learn there, Josh. Endeavor's really cool. Ended up allowing this Grafaiai to take out a Snorlax, which doesn't normally happen. Just really well played by Darren. I tend to notice, and we'll have a couple of instances in this in later battles. I feel like sometimes these battles pop up where it doesn't feel like either side particularly prepped for anything. There's just a lot of like aimlessness of just like, man, this set isn't for this situation, but I don't know, we'll go for it. And I think that some of the South battles tend to fall into that trap a little bit more, but Darren seemed to have specific things here. Like the Endeavor was a really nice pull there. Going Terra Dark knockoff to guarantee the KO on Dragapult, really nice. But Crest didn't have anything to do in this battle other than just be alive. Like, especially after the Dragapult went down and the Grimmsnarl went down, there wasn't much of a threat to Crest's life outside of like a potential Swords Dance Excadrill. But Air Balloon Excadrill with Rapid Spin probably doesn't have SD. And also this was Rocky Helmet Hippo, so the sand wasn't staying up for very long. Not a very cohesive team by Josh. Grant, he's very new in the format, so I want to give him some room there. Like, having these two together is good, but having Smooth Rock on Hippo and like I mean, Air Balloon's probably fine. I'm not big on Life Orb on Excadrill, but you know, with this offensive type team, probably doesn't hurt too bad. Yeah, then just make sure you have something to KO the big defensive threats. Like you probably want stuff to live the big offensive threats, and you want stuff that's going to be able to deal with the big defensive threats. Just something to look out for. But Darren comes away with a win. Their big 4-0 win. Darren stays undefeated on the season. We can get into the next game, which we have Connor and the Grand Rapids Greninja versus Michael and the Santa Fe Suicune. I'm going to, again, throw this on fast because this is a long battle that I think is like pretty well handled. Michael just starts stacking hazards right away. Really smart move. It's something I called out in the podcast a couple weeks ago, is Connor doesn't have any way to get rid of hazards. Once they're up, they're up. And Michael very smartly just gets up, rocks and spikes, and is just going to force switches. And that's like, he can switch with a lot more impunity. Plus, he has rapid spin. So he doesn't have to worry about it. And also, yeah, he doesn't have to worry as much about the hazard stat game. And also you see a couple of times that Pokemon go down to the hazards here. Oh man, we need to talk about this set. Dragon Dance, Wish, Stored Power, Shadow Ball on Latias. So, this is such a weird set. Because might as well have Recover if you're gonna, for your recovery move over Wish. Wish is just worse other than the fact that it has more PP. So, a little bit of give and take there. Dragon Dance is cool for boosting your speed, but you're going to be better off with like agility because you're going to get like even faster out of it. And because you're not benefiting at all from that attack boost. And then Shadow Ball doesn't benefit from anything. Like, obviously the idea would be Calm Mind, Recover in those two moves. Maybe even Draining Kiss, that would be the better move. I'm sorry I've spent a lot of time on a Pokemon that's already fainted, but that is just such a weird, disjointed set. I know that Connor said he was trying to get, like, try different things that he hadn't tried before, but, oh boy, you gotta understand why some sets do a certain thing. Like, if you wanna, if you're making food and it's just like, oh man, I want to substitute the beef for the chicken, or chicken in here, you know, something, just try something a little different. You have to understand what the beef is doing, because like, if you're, in this case, this was substituting beef for chicken when you're making steak. Like, you're making a different thing now. You need to make some other adjustments. So, you know, he almost gets himself in a pretty good position with this substitute, like the sub SD Sceptile. Like, look at this. He's actually making way for himself here. The fake out unfortunately puts him in range where the life orb's going to finish him off. Plus, he didn't have a move to be able to hit shift tree super effective. Little unfortunate. Love that play with the Wind Rider, but it ends up being for naught because that is a choice Scarf Infernape. Check your speed tiers, folks. You got to make sure if you're going to be running that Tailwind Shift Tree that you actually are faster than everything, because Shift Tree is super frail. So, a little unfortunate. But at this point, you know, dodges the Hypnosis, catches, that's lucky there, but also it's one of those things where it's just like, it's Hypnosis. It's, it's not really hacksy if you get hit by Hypnosis. But he's got the game pretty well in hand at this point. The Deoxys is going to come in and faint to hazards. The Darkrai is going to come in and faint to hazards. The Deoxys also couldn't switch out because it was going to faint to hazards. Nothing on this Infernape that was going to be able to KO the Ceruledge. So he's in a good spot there. A really good showing for Michael here. Really putting those hazards to work. That was the key moment in this battle, just getting those hazards stacked up. So well done there. Another undefeated player so far this season. I think him and hold on. Sorry for the bad formatting. I just want to see when him and Darren play. I think it's probably not until the end of the actually. Yeah, him and Darren don't play for the end of the season. What if they both go undefeated? Wouldn't that be fun? And they play an undefeated game at the end of the season. Okay, moving on. We've got Kyle and hold on, I gotta remember people's team names because people change them. LA Kingdra, Kyle and the LA Kingdra versus Dakota and the London Dragonites. One of, if not the most played battle in ABL history right here. There's very few players who have played more often than these two. Like maybe Logan versus Kyle. That might be up there. But just because Logan's never missed a season, Kyle's missed one season, but Dakota and Kyle have been at each other's throats for a long time. So let's hop into this battle. I like the neutralizing gas on Weezing. I think that's smart here. It limits a little bit of damage because it stops the Protean there. If he was actually able to force this Slowking out, it would prevent the Regenerator. But that doesn't happen here. We see the Future Sight come up. Okay, so we got to talk about this right here because let's real quick, again, sorry the formatting. Let me just get some notes out of this. Bisharp, Ground, Flying, and Fire. So, Dakota talked to me. He said that Bisharp was EV'd so that way it guaranteed lived 2 Earthquakes from Bisharp. He could have gone Flying type and then he could have EV'd it to like do damage. Instead of that. So I don't, because he goes Fire type here. You're going to see him Terra Fire. I don't know what Terra Fire accomplishes versus this team. The best thing it accomplishes is doing damage to Alolan Sandslash, but I don't really think that going Terra Fire doesn't super help with that either. Like, I feel like you probably could have dealt with it with coverage moves. So I'm not a huge fan, because if it was going to come out and attack you, it's going for Earthquake. It's not going for Ice or Steel type moves. It's going for Earthquake, which you're still weak to. So I don't like that play. Also, it meant he got hit by the, what's it called? The Future Sight. Now this is a 1% Bisharp, and also went for Terra Blast. Terra Blast Fire does the same damage that Iron Head would have done, so it's a waste of a move slot too. Don't like that Terra Fire Bisharp. I don't think it really had any place in this. Oh, and also he changed it to Ground. It wasn't Ground originally. I think it was, maybe it was Fairy or something, or Ghost. Ghost would have even been better because it wouldn't have taken super effective damage from Earthquake. He is able to knock off the Toxic Orb. Not that it's going to matter because there's no way to really heal it. But he is going to be able to bring in the Weezing, and now the Gliscor is getting damage from the Toxic because of neutralizing gas. That's why it's so cool. I don't know if we've seen it really come into play here, but something that gives Dakota a lot of trouble is he had Rocky Helmet on Weezing, and he also had Static on Zapdos. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit because not a lot goes on here. So those rocks going up and Dakota doesn't have good ways to clear the hazards, that means that Bisharp is essentially dead. So, because now that the rocks are there, and he does send in Weezing potentially to defog, but he's slower than our Chaladon and dies to this the flash cannon. So rough time for him there. Gliscor is going to come in and get T-bolted into Ice Beamed, so ends up being a good round. Like, that ends up being like a 1-for-1 trade, but I think it was probably more valuable for Dakota. So he also might have been Rocky Helmet on Zapdos because he wasn't heavy duty boots. So triple axle. If this wasn't protected Pads Masquerada, he would have taken damage on the Weezing when he U-turned. He would have potentially gotten parried on the Zapdos when he triple axled there, and he would have taken damage. So smart, very smart by Kyle to go protective Pads Masquerada. Ended up kind of invalidating 2 whole Pokemon for Dakota because those 2 Pokemon were clearly, at least in part, I think the Zapdos more than the Weezing was there to deal with the Meowscarada. And ended up working out super well. Now Chansey's going to come in. Kind of weird because this Meowscarada could have had knockoff. And just going to go for a Seismic Toss. Some of the stats on Chansey this week: attacked like 8 times in this battle. Having a rough time on offense when Chansey's your leading attacker. But Kyle really just taking it nice and slow, getting Future Sights up, getting Thunder Waves off, slowly damaging stuff. See, that Bisharp's dead, no way to clear the hazards. But Dakota's saving grace in this is this Meowscarada can't hit a triple axle to save its fucking life. Because it misses one there, it's going to miss, I think it only hits one. Oh no, it gets all 3 hits there. But it's going to miss triple axles on the Sand Slash here, even after the SD. Paralysis and triple axle misses from Kyle are what keeps Dakota in this battle. I think this was Dakota kind of beat himself in prep here. I don't think Kyle had to go out of his way to make any great plays. I think he just had a better constructed team. He just had the matchup. So well done to Kyle for just bringing the right squad. Just bringing a smart team. I think Dakota kind of played himself out as he has to see another triple axle miss. It's been rough time for Kyle and a para for Dakota. He needed all the help he could get here, and those paras are just going to end up burying him. Yeah, another triple axle miss, brutal. So yeah. This could have easily been a 4-0 if Kyle hadn't missed as many triple axles as he did. And Thunderbolt on Primarina, not enough. Thunderbolt onto Primarina, not enough for Lottie to take it down. I believe this is AV Primarina. So maybe Psyshock would have been the better play there. But, you don't know that going into it. Just goes to show Kyle had better prep in this than Dakota did. It wasn't even a play thing. I think Dakota played fine. He just didn't have the tools. Like... I don't need I was going to do another we'll do a metaphor. Podcasts are for entertainment, not for education, although they can be for education. But this one is like Dakota didn't play bad, but he had the wrong tools. So this is like if he went in like with he tried to do a drywall job with paintbrushes. Just, he didn't have the right stuff for it. He did his best, but he didn't have what he needed to take down Kyle. So now we'll move on to our marquee match of the week.
Marquee match of the week. Now we have a theme.
So marquee match of the week, we got Zhang and the Minnesota Typhlosion taking on Papcoon and the Texarkana Toxics. Okay, so I'm going to say it again. Why no Torkoal? Okay, I don't know what Papcoon has against Torkoal. He drafted it pretty early on. He drafted it very late because he was going for Mono Dragon, then he went for Dual Weather. But the thing is, this time I know why no Torkoal. Because look at the other team. You've got Gouging Fire, you've got Hisuian Typhlosion, you've got Screamtail. The other team benefits from Sun just as much as you do. Why give that to them? So he ended up going with Rain here. I still think Torkoal is very important to the team. Look, he's got no hazard clearing, and the only hazard he has is Sticky Web. But also, that's the only hazard he needed this week. So let's get into this battle. Let's see. Oh, that's okay. Not a ton goes on here in the beginning of this battle. Again, we'll speed it up. Uh, just Papkun doesn't have any way to really deal with this Araquanid. It's like a really good set for what he's got going on. Ends up losing his Drizzlemon very early on. So now if there is no Weather War for him to win, going Terra Electric here is probably good, but also gets the freeze, which puts him in a very good position. Just going to keep hammering that super effective hit on the Raging Bolt here. Very smart. Breaks out, gets the Weather Ball off. And then another nice play here to go into Ogerpon to try to catch the Weather Ball, get the free switch in, but ends up taking a full-on Thunderclap. Pretty crazy there, too, because if he had stayed in and gone for the... Oh, I guess he was getting outsped. Weather Ball probably would have KO'd the P2, right? So he went for Thunderclap. So I don't really understand the Thunderclap play there. That's kind of a weird play then. Yeah. But this is where I think Papkun made a big mistake. Because right now he's up 6-4. And he's got a lot of good tools. He sends in Donphan. Sturdy is intact. Araquanid comes in, goes for Liquidation, knocks it down to Sturdy. That's fine, because... Oh, no, he put up Rocks. Rocks is fine if you're forcing a lot of switches. At this point, Zhang just needs to get off attacks. It's like... Oh, man, I'm going crazy with the metaphors in this. In baseball, when you're down a bunch, you don't need home runs. You just need base runners. You need to get on base. Right now, you just need to do damage to the other team. That's at the end of the day, that's how you win, is doing damage. If you're not doing stuff that does damage, then you can't win in Pokemon. So now he's just going to Leech Life there. If he had Rapid Spun, then, yeah, granted, like the Araquanid could have potentially set webs back up, but you're going to be faster because of the spin. So that's problem number one. Spin, now you're faster than the Araquanid, and if he wants to set up hazards again, you can just keep spinning right before you die. So in this scenario, he would have gone Liquidation, spins, now he's faster than the Araquanid. He's still at Sturdy, but he can get up Rocks. If Araquanid takes that turn to try to set back up the Sticky Webs, then you've gotten Rocks up and you can spin again, and then he's got to kill you. So you're going to end up with Rocks and webs off the field if he had spun first. Puts him in a really bad position. You're going to see how much those webs affect him the rest of the game. Porygon's going to come in too slow, and he's going to get liquidated out of the game. Just threw away a Pokemon you didn't need to throw away. Pretty unfortunate. Now Ogermon's going to come out and go for the knockoff. Not enough. Going to get Leech Lifed out of there. Needed to go for, I don't know, Power Whip or something. I know that's inaccurate, but knockoff wasn't going to KO it, and now he's thrown away 3 whole Pokemon to this Araquanid and not really gotten enough done. Screamtail's going to come in, go for the Thunderbolt, doesn't get enough to get it out of there. Is going to be able to follow it up with a Dazzling Gleam to clear it out, but lost 3 Pokemon to this Araquanid, all just in exchange for getting up Rocks. Now the Ogerpon Hearthflame's going to come out. It's going to go for Focus Energy. That's big here because now all of its moves... So for those of you who don't know how Focus Energy work, which may be a couple of you because it doesn't come up very often. Focus Energy... So crit stats, like crit stages work different than like, you know, boosting your attack by 2 stages or whatever. So for critical hits, there's only 3 stages. There's basically 0, 1, 2, 3. 0, your base crit rate is, I think I want to say it's like 2.5%, somewhere in that range. It's like 1 in 24 or something. Somewhere in that range. A +1 to your crit, which is your high critical rate moves if you're holding a Scope Lens or what's that, Razor Claw, or if you have Super Luck. Those are the 3 like 1 stage boost crits. Those put your crit rate at, I want to say it's 12.5%. So definitely, like, happens like 6 times as much pretty much, but still not enough to like be a big boon. When you boost your crits by 2, that is any of the things I said for stage 1 stacked on top of each other, or Focus Energy, then you have a 50% crit rate. So if you focus energy, and use a high crit rate move, like Ivy Cudgel, then you are guaranteed to get crits on Ivy Cudgel, and all of Ogerpon's other moves have a 50% crit rate. So probably worth it if you don't have any other way to boost it. I guess like Swords Dance would have been more reliable because then you can also theoretically get crits on top of it. But focus energy is pretty cool, right? I guess because also since crits are only times 1.5, Swords Dance would have been more damage output there, but it is what it is. Shows off the Stomping Tantrum, gets the crit, 51%. I'm surprised that lived. Like, Gouging Fire is pretty strong. I know Ogerpon's kind of bulky, but it's a Stone Edge. Pretty rough there. So, a couple more things to go over here. And we'll take our time because it's the marquee match of the week, right? So, nice job going for the Burning Bulwark there. Even if he gets crit again, he's out of range of being KO'd because you can't crit on top of crit unless it was just like a bad roll, right? Now he switches out to Screamtail to take the Stomping Tantrum. I don't really know why he did that because then he takes the Heavy Cudgel and goes away. I thought he was going to use that to buy himself another Burning Bulwark so he could protect again, so he'd get another round of leftovers recovery. But he ends up not doing that, just staying in and going for the attack and finishing him off. And now the Gouging Fire is exactly where it would have been if he had just done that on turn 20. But instead, he just threw away Screamtail for no reason. Those are two Pokemon he's thrown away for no reason. Look, I like Papcoon. I think he's a pretty good battler, but he choked this one away. At this point, he doesn't really have a lot of recourse of what he can do. We find out that this is a Choice Scarf Walking Wake. Everything else is going to go down. Yeah, everything's going to go down to this Hydro Steam. But he could have still had... if he still had the Screamtail around, Screamtail would have lived a Hydro Steam, I'm pretty sure. And, I don't know, been able to, like, Dazzling Gleam for a good chunk of damage. Sure, you force in the Pecharunt, but Typhlosion has a good matchup versus that. It's, yeah, this was a throw by Zhang. Or not by Zhang, sorry, by Pap. Good play by Zhang. You know, you got to play to your outs. Sometimes your outs are maybe my opponent will play bad, and that's what he did here. He'd made the best play possible in every situation. Really put the pressure on Papcoon, and Papcoon folded. So let's hop in. We'll take a look at the standings. Hold on, let me fix the thing. There we go. So here's the standings. Michael, one of our newest players, in the 1 spot for the South. Let's hope we can keep up this momentum. Good for him. Detroit Dragapults also. Darren picking up where he left off in the regular season and just really going to town here in the South. I think he lost 1 game in the regular season last year, and he's picked up right where he left off, looking to be playoff bound. Connor, the only team to lose 2 games so far. I'm sure he'll get back on the horse there, as long as he doesn't make some goofy mistakes like he did this week. But I think he can. He might need to make some changes to the team. Maybe need to get some hazard control. Yeah. So I think that's that. I don't think we can. I don't think all the stats in the South are done. No. Our stat czar is dealing with a lot of human resources problems, but we'll see here that. KO leader Grafai and Hisuian Zoroark both doing well. Araquanid had a great showing. Gouging Fire got a couple of kills this week, but overall, struggled in the appearances there, but still within striking distance of the leaderboard there. So yeah, well done to everyone in the South. Thanks for getting your games done. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week. Goodbye.